just get your tenants to pay for your electricity as well. I mean, they cover your solar payment for the main house and for the ADU. And now you can rent it as utilities or at least electricity included, which means you can charge more and just bake in the actual cost of your financing. And in every single deal that I come across, they sign at the dotted line, as they say, every single time. Now, somebody was asking me, that sounds great, but how do I do that? Well, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I'm going to show you, if you would, the path of least resistance that I learned a long, long time ago. And it does require a lot more work on your part. And what I mean by that is that obviously if you could hook up with, I'm working with one contractor right now who joined Powur and is feeding me the solar side. He's just focusing on the ADU and getting the permits and everything else done. So I'm just doing the ADU portion, which is sweet because it's a done deal. They have no choice. They have to go solar. So at that point, the interest rate really doesn't drive the deal as much as it does on your traditional cell. The second thing that I think everybody should become well versed on, and thankfully, there's this thing called the internet that can make life a lot easier. And that is, you can look up, there's a way, I know how to do it, and you should know how to do it. If not, look it up. But there's a way for you to pull up building permits. It's public information. So you can pull up ADU permits. There are companies that pull the information for you, and they can give you the information to people that are requesting or pulling permits just for the ADU portion. And you know they're going to have to go solar. So do that. Do that. I mean, and it works like a charm because at that point they have to go solar. At that point, it's not as heavy on the payment, if you would, as with other people. And so again, it's being redefined. I keep using that word over and over again. And so therefore, you're just going to have to do your part to redefine that as well. And then the only thing that I really wanted to stress to everybody today is what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks, because in 2 weeks, I'm doing a special webinar. I actually just finished my 9 a.m. webinar, and I was telling them about it. Had this conversation with Rhett. I know it as a different name, but he knows it as really well as ChatGPT. And I sent him that picture yesterday of a news article, say how New York City just banned it, because it's going to change everything. And it definitely makes life easier. I spend a lot of money on copy, or I used to spend a lot of money on copy. I know it by another name because there's a guy that what he did is he took basically ChatGPT and took their API and rebranded it. And so now he just rebrands it through there, and it goes through ChatGPT, and it comes right back with his brand. And it's a great way to grow your business. But I'll show you how to use ChatGPT to grow your solar business, because it can help you with a lot of the posts. It can help you with a lot of the copy, the sales page, the ads, if you would, Facebook, and it works like a charm. So I want everybody to at least be aware of it, so that even when the other guy told me yesterday also about another article in ChatGPT, he's like, oh, look, this is where you were talking about it. I go, that's what, or yesterday I said, read the picture. I was sitting in my living room, and I have a Echo Studio, like a little tablet things, and article popped up how New York City just banned ChatGPT on all public servers and schools. I mean, but they're not going to stop it. Kids are not that stupid. They're probably just going to use their phone. And so the point of this is that it's something that's going to help you tremendously grow your solar business as well. And that's in 2 weeks, because next Saturday, Brett's going to, say if he's available to run the show, I'm going to be at a conference Brett, tomorrow's also the other one in San Diego. So, correct?
I'll be in San Diego.
Yeah, no. So there's no webinar next Saturday because, as you know or should know, next Saturday is the Leadership Summit for Powur in San Diego. And so he's going to be there.
Actually, Thursday and Fridays. I'll actually be back on Saturday. We could do Saturday.
You could do it? Okay. Brett could do Saturday. I'm going to be gone as of Wednesday to Atlanta. I have another commitment that I have to be for another summit, basically, in the city of Atlanta. So I'm going to be at that one. And it's a great time to be in business if you understand the rules of engagement here in 2023. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying that this is the answer, but I can also tell you that it definitely is, because I can see the production of different people. And so again, it's not the end of the world. You just have to learn how to redefine value and what value means to different people as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my part. Before I open it up to Rhett to update you on a couple of things that he wants to share with you, what I want to do is I just want to go ahead and take a moment to show you the one part that I wanted to emphasize that changes. It changes about every week. And so the question is, what's working financing wise right now? And there's two answers to that. On one end, we're looking for what's the one thing that is getting us the lowest payment, because there are people that are looking for that, and there's an answer to that. But there's also something else that is, what is the best value? And today, value does not necessarily represent or does not mean the lowest payment, because like I told you, that's a whole different scenario. It does represent the best overall value for the client that in probably 90% of the cases equals a higher payment. And so now try to sell that. And I think that's where real salesmanship comes in, where you have to articulate. And that's one of the most important words to learn, articulate why this makes sense, even though your payment might be slightly or sometimes a little bit higher than it is with your current power bill. And so I'm going to open it up to all of our experts. We have a lot of great knowledgeable people here that are closing business. So I'm imploring you to share your story with us and with everybody else for the benefit of the team. I'm not telling you I know it all. I know probably 5% of what I wish I knew as it relates to this. But what I do want to emphasize also to you is the fact that, at least I'm closing business. And at the end of the day, that's probably one of the most important things to be able to do, close business regardless of the climate that we are in. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick. I just want to get rid of the address and the name on this proposal. It's to show you how we made it happen. And it took three different, here, let me just get this out of the way. And let me show it to you right now. And it took three, let's see if you can see it, just 1 second. Here, it took three different revisions, if you would, to be able to do it. And I'm not going to get into the percentages or all the other stuff. I just want to show you basically at this point, the way we made it happen and how we made it happen. Even this one last week isn't true this week again. And Red's also going to talk to you about, he's going to talk to you, I should say, about the interest rates, the deadlines that are one passed, I think, and one is coming up still. But what helped me tremendously with this deal that you're seeing on the screen is that it's, again, he said the magic word ADU. And when he said ADU, I knew that if I showed him the value in it, it was going to be a slam dunk. And that's exactly what we were able to do. We are well into the project as we speak right now, even though he's going to have a higher payment. That's primarily because of the fact that he is going to be adding an ADU. We have to account for that. So you have to know the formula for the square footage, the type of AC. Are they going to have a full AC unit in there? Are they going to have a window unit? Are they going to have a split? And things that you have to learn to ask, if you would, so that number one, they know that you know what you're talking about. And that number two, so that you can obviously get it right or as close to getting it right, meaning that there are still going to be some variables in the long run. And so even though in this case it is going up by quite a bit, he's going to be able to bake in the 188 of his new payment into the actual rent for the unit that's almost finished in the back. I have another one that started from scratch that's nothing less than a nightmare, because you also have to keep in mind that in solar, you're dealing with construction. And this one went from a straight up ADU to with the solar that I'm doing, or Powur is doing. It went from that to all of a sudden, when the inspector came in, all of their outlets were burned out because the electrical system is just simply so outdated. They use those screw-on fuses still, and they said they're not going to approve it, obviously, on that. So new MPU, we needed an MPU. Then on top of that, they said they need to pull all the cables and all the wires from within the walls and redo everything from scratch. And then it just literally turned into a nightmare. And so in this example, the question that I'm going to ask you, or what I want to emphasize to you, is this part, especially if you're submitting business in the last week or two. Value. What we're talking about value here in this example, the best value for this individual was the 20-year 6.99. Now, if you noticed, it expired, which is fine because we locked it in and we've got the contract in and everything else is in. But the point that I'm making is people ask me, well, why not the 25-year? Because obviously there's a option to be able to do that. The 25-year, let's just say 299. Well, the answer is because it was adding something like $11,000 to the financing, and the payment was only dropping like $4. And that's a hell of a hit for a client to take just for the sake of saving $4 a month. And so what he said, well, so-and-so told me that you guys offered, 25 years. Well, we do offer 25 years, but let me show it to you. And when I showed it to him, he immediately said, oh, hell no, I'm not going to pay, $48,000 for something I could have paid 33, and my payment only drops $4 or whatever it was. And so the answer in that scenario was this one. It's 6.99. But even as of this week, as this one shows expired, Rhett, when do the new rate hikes take place?
Well, the for Sunlight, it already took place a couple days ago.
That's why it shows expired. Yeah.
Yeah, and on Good Leap, it's happening on the 10th.
On the 10th.
So, and I'll talk about that here in just a minute.
Got it. And so what I'm getting at here, and again, I'm not telling you that I know it all and I don't have the answers. I just want to give you food for thought based on actual experience of deals coming in right now, is that we got him in before the rate hike went up, because now today I couldn't even offer him this, which means value-wise, it would probably be even a different product like the 15-year. I'm not too sure. I'll ask Red in just one second. But the point that I'm making is that you have to be aware. Now, here's what I would recommend. If you're a mentee, you're in training still, my recommendation would be to not, and I say again, not quote terms or rates to anybody, because you might be up to speed or you might not. And if you get it wrong, and this guy says, well, wait a minute, it looks like a bait and switch. You're telling me 20 years, 6.99. They were telling me 25 years, 3.99. I go, no. First of all, I never told you that. But I'll show you what that looks like, and I'll let you make up your own mind. So it kind of put me on the defense a little bit. But then when he saw the numbers, he's like, oh, hell no. Take me back to the 20-year, 6.99, because he understood the overall value. Now, if this was a traditional client just looking to lower their electricity bill, it wouldn't have flown, because I was not going to be able to deliver to him a lower payment no matter how I sliced it. Even if we paid $11,000 for the 3.99, it still wasn't going to come in lower than what he's currently paying with right now. And which brings me to the last part that I wanted to share with you, and that is that we need to make sure we emphasize things like here, you are receiving a $10,000 federal tax credit. And that means a lot to people that have an actual federal tax liability at the end of the year. If they don't, well, maybe obviously it won't. But if they do, like most people do, then it will mean a lot. Also, you need to emphasize that they are, was reading and looking in different videos all this week. And the one thing that a lot of the closers right now are emphasizing is the freezing of their actual rates. So now you're going to be able to, yeah, it might be a little higher, but you're going to be able to freeze your rate at this rate today and not have to worry about ever going up again. Whereas, as you know, with Edison, especially with Edison, it's been going up 9 to 10% a year. And they know that because they saw it. Now, I know we're not in the business of natural gas, but what I want to do, I want to see if maybe I can pull this up to show you something that I was reading last night as I was trying to fall asleep. Let me show you this. And I'm just trying to remember SoCal Gas. Watch this. Look at what words they're using as far as utilities are concerned. Let me see if I find it. Here, look at the word. Get ready for a massive gas bill this month. This is what people are facing. And here's the crazy part. I was just in Prague. I was just in Slovakia. I was just in Germany. I get it why their natural gas is going through the roof. At least that kind of makes sense. Russia. I mean, very, very simple. Here in the United States, all they're saying is, we're not going to get left behind with this literally free grab of high prices. They're saying that they are going up tremendously.
Double.
What's that?
It says anyone who heats their home with natural gas is likely to see a January bill that is more than double what they paid a year earlier.
Oh, 100.
Yeah, Javier, if I could chime in. I get text alerts from Southern California Gas, and I'll read it to you verbatim. Bill to date, $186.98. Same month last year, $63.60.
Damn.
Exactly.
Okay, that guys are scaring the hell out of me. Hold on.
You better check yours.
I'm telling you, because I have SoCal Gas. And so the point.
Well, Javier, while you're looking at that, Hector Ramirez, I think he's on today. He called me yesterday and said, "Did you hear about the electricity cost in I don't even remember where it was now." Hector, are you on? Hector Ramirez?
I haven't seen him.
Okay, maybe he's not on, but it was a 35% increase that they had notified their customers are. It wasn't in California. It was I'm not sure if it was It was back east someplace. But I'm like, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Sunrun is telling all their potential clients right now that they have heard the rumor that Southern California Edison plans on a 20% increase this year. So,
yes. And so you have to understand, and let me tell you something that I've heard, I know has helped me tremendously in anything I've ever, quote, sold. I don't consider myself a salesperson, but that's the industry that we're in. And the one thing that has helped me tremendously in any industry I've ever sold in, life insurance, mortgages, real estate, or now solar, it has been the ability to tell a story. That's the one thing that people always tell me. You shouldn't, I heard you should be sharing personal stuff. And I'm the opposite. I have nothing to hide. I'm showing you guys right here. You know, I'm not recording this today because, just on a side note, we're not recording Saturday webinars and archiving them in our YouTube channel. Either you can make it or you can't. It literally takes me 6 hours to clean up a video. By the time Zoom downloads it, sends me the email, I download it, edit it, then you have to clean it up, then you have to, render it into an MP4, whatever the hell it is. Then I have to upload it to YouTube, create the thumbnail. I mean, I can't do it anymore. I'll show you how hopefully ChatGPT can help do it for me. But if they can do it for me, great. But I can't do it. So, anyways, the point that I'm making is that I'm sharing you my stuff. I literally haven't logged into this stuff. It doesn't show me, but I haven't logged in probably 3 years because, as you see in the upper right-hand corner, automatic monthly payment plan. It just gets stepped. I don't want to know. But last month was what, $63. This month, $174 for gas. I mean, come on, man. I mean, this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And so the point, and I wasn't even here. I was in Europe half the damn month. You know what I mean? And so the point that I'm making is that it is bad. And so where I'm going at with this is that if I'm talking to a client, I would literally do this right now. I would literally talk about gas like I'm talking to you about it with my client, because that sets the stage that you're not in here trying to be selfish and sell them something that benefits you. But on the contrary, that if we can control can you imagine that if the gas company would have come to me last month and said, Javier, you've been a client for 30 years. We offer you the opportunity to lock in your gas prices at the rate last month for the rest of your life. Damn, hell yeah, I'll take it all day long. Who wouldn't take it? And so the point that I'm making is that it gives you the ability to present it in that way. Now, that's the only way I know how to sell. And I always believed in telling the story, telling a story, being sincere with somebody, not lie about somebody. And I do the exact same thing with my solar business, where I just show them my story. I'm a product of this product. This is where I was before. This is where I am right now. And yeah, yours might not be as low as mine, but still, as they say, the best time to go solar was probably last year. The second best time is, guess what? Right now. That's just the way it is. And so I have one realtor that I've been dealing with. I did a proposal for her like 6 months ago. She called me up last week. Hey, Javier, what's going on? I didn't even remember her. Hey, how are you? Listen, I just wanted to let you know. And then by the time I heard her voice and I started to hear her, I knew who she was. Just wanted to let you know I'm still thinking about it. And I go, whoa. I go, wait, when did we do your proposal? She's like, about 6 months ago. Wait, let me just stop you right there. That 2.99 you had gone, probably around 10%, right? Just so you know. I go, so just stop. What do you mean you still? She says, no, but I'm really serious about it now. And I'm like, okay, well, you're a little late to the party, man. The train has left the station. That's all I can tell you. And nowhere near close to what we spoke about. It's actually going to go cost you higher. And she was, oh, I'm sorry. Then never mind. And that was it. Done. I mean, you just got to do that. But the point that I'm making is that, so you have to find out where the most value, because we were for the longest amount of time with Mosaic. Then from Mosaic, I was with the Mosaic representative last couple of weeks ago. What was it? Anyways, for a Christmas party they held over at Topgolf. So I was with him, and he was telling me point blank, Jordan is his name. No, that's not his name. Whatever the hell his name is. He was Jordan, that's his name. He was like, hey, Javier, I'll be honest with you. I work for Mosaic, and I wouldn't submit Mosaic right now. He goes, so I'm telling you right now, you're doing the right thing by going to Sunlight. But as of right now, it turns out that, Sunlight might not even be your best option today. And so that's why we hold these webinars, to keep you up to speed on what is going on. And most importantly, hear your story, get your input as to what you're seeing out there. Because again, I only see a very small percentage of all the business going through, and that's where you come in. So I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Red. Does anybody have any questions for me before I do that, though? Any questions about anything? All right. If not, what I'm going to do.
I just wanted to know how he financed the ADU, the guy. How did he pay for his ADU, this guy?
There's two different ones that I'm working on right now. The first one, they went ahead and took out a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, and paid for it through the HELOC. And then the other one, they secured financing, not with the actual contractor, but the contractor got them the actual loan, in a hard loan, basically, to just get the construction up and running.
Okay. And do you know the rates or the terms on them?
I don't know, but I'll get it and I'll share it with you as soon as I get it. I can ask. They'll tell me.
Okay.
Does anybody know what they're going for right now?
Well, HELOCs are probably about 10% interest only.
The downside of the HELOC lady that I'm telling you about is that they quoted her $65,000, which I'd said was cheap. I go, that sounds almost too cheap, whatever. So she took out $100 from the home, and then they came back and said, actually, you're going to need to rewire the whole home. You're going to need a new roof. You're going to need to, everything. And she's running out of money already. And so she's trying to scramble where she's going to get it. And I told her, because she got that money, and you're right. I think because she got it probably 6 months ago, rates are much higher than 6 months ago. So she's scrambling where to get the money from. So I told her, good luck. I mean, I don't know if the deal is going to be due, but if anybody knows,
the roof can be in your solar.
The way they made her change it because of the way the city was doing it, we couldn't do the roof and the panel at the same time. So what they ended up doing, the contractor swapped it out. We are now doing the roof and the solar. We were going to do the MPU, but the MPU has to be switched to the financing with the contractor because they cannot sign off on anything until the wiring, until the MPU is done first. We can't do the roof until the MPU is done, and we can't do the solar until that's done either. So it's been a hell of a project. It changes in the city. It's in Ontario, thank God, because it's not too far from where I live. But it's just been nothing but a nightmare for this lady who just was told in 3 months you'll have your unit in the back, and it's been literally going in a year. And it's just a nightmare. But I'll get the exact rates because I'm curious myself as well. Anybody else? Anything, please? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Rhett, and then we're going to turn it over to anybody that has input in regards to what's going on right now, so we can go ahead and get people to become and stay productive as well. Rhett?
Thanks, Javier. Good morning, everybody. Couple things. It's interesting. Javier and I didn't talk about what he was going to, or didn't discuss what he was going to talk about this morning, but it's a great segue because over the course of the next couple of months, we're going to be doing a lot of training actually on how to sell solar in the new world of 3.0. Because quite frankly, in the past, what we've been doing is selling solar basically as an IQ test. Here's what you got. Here's what I can give you. Doesn't make sense to do, anything other than option 2, which is us, right? Because we were almost always able to save people money on the monthly payment. If you're still selling monthly payment, you're missing the boat because it's not about monthly payment. It has to be about locking in their energy cost because right now, a lot of times we are a sideways move today. I'm working on with Hector right now. I'm working on an Excel spreadsheet and graph that will make it a lot easier to show the value of money over time and why this is a great idea to go solar, even if you're spending more money to go solar today than what it's costing you on electricity today. Because quite frankly, moving forward, electricity cost, utility cost in general, as we've just seen, are going up. And as the grid gets older and more people are moving into the state or getting online, buying electric vehicles, doing all these different things, it's going to be more and more prevalent to have brownouts, blackouts, and those types of things. So, we didn't want to go to 3.0. We didn't want to have to start selling batteries yet, because quite frankly, over the course of the next 2 to 3 years, everybody knows that battery technology is going to get better. Battery costs are going to come down. But we don't have that choice anymore. We are being plunged into 3.0. and we are going to have to start selling batteries. It's about storage. That's what 3.0 is all about. They don't want people on the grid during 5 o'clock to 9 p.m. When everybody's no longer producing energy, and they have to log into or have to start drawing their energy from the grid. They don't want people to do that. They want people to use the energy that's in their storage. So that's what 3.0 is all about. And so we have to start looking at that because as of April 13th, by the way, that's a day that you need to put down in your calendar, because that's the drop dead date for still locking in and getting grandfathered into 2.0. And what that means is by April 13th, a complete interconnection agreement package has to have been submitted to the utility company. It doesn't have to be approved. It has to be submitted. But a complete package includes the contract and the plan design. So the contract's going to have to be signed. The site survey is going to have to be done. The plans are going to have to be designed, and the borrower is going to have to approve those plans. And at that point, the interconnection agreement will be submitted to the utility company, and that has to happen before April 13th. So as long as that gets submitted, a complete package gets submitted, then your borrowers will be grandfathered in for 20 years. They have up to 3 years to get installed. So installation is not an issue. It's the package getting submitted, which is the issue. So right now we're still good. So right now we're still, you don't have to worry about batteries today. We will do a lot of training over the course of the next couple of months on battery technology. In the past, both Javier and I have said that we can't see a reason for selling Solar Edge string inverters moving forward. That may change simply because with the battery technology, Solar Edge actually has a better configuration. One of these days, we will be talking about this, but they do a DC coupling versus an AC coupling. Don't worry about it if you don't understand what that is. We'll explain it. We'll teach you it. We'll make sure you understand it all. But we still have the issue of shading and that type of thing. So it won't work for everybody, but we will start selling Solar Edge string inverters with batteries probably sometime after the end of March. But we'll be talking about a lot about that coming up. We'll be talking a lot about selling locking in the rate and how that's going to how you can do that easier. Like I said, we're trying to create we're creating an Excel sheet that will make that a lot easier for you to show people how they can start saving money, and it will be more accurate than Solo. A few other things as far as financing. Best rate out there right now, best program we have on the platform today is still Sunlight, but it's a 15-year 7.49. The dealer fee is only 3.75. So it is the closest thing to cash we have right now. The lowest payment is Good Leap 25-year 2.99. The dealer fee's steep. It's I think it's 30. It's a little over 37%. So very steep dealer fee, but it works out to a lower payment. So if you want the lowest payment today, it's Good Leap 25-year 2.99. That's the lowest payment you can get today. But it adds about $10,000 to on a very small, on a $17,000 cash price. I did one yesterday, $17,000, and the Sunlight 15-year brought it up to 17,900. So it was a very small increase in the loan amount. But the 25-year 2.99 brought it up to $27,000, a little over $27,600. And but the payment was lower, obviously, but it's a 25-year loan versus a 15-year loan. Now, how do we know these? You just need to, if you are a tier 2, you need to go into a proposal that you have. And if you don't have one, you can create one. You can create a dummy one. Yes, it'll go against your credit, but don't worry about credits. You can create a dummy proposal and you can just play around. And that's how I figure it out. That's how Javier works on it. I mean, we just go in and we start playing around with it and figuring out where the best rates are, where the best, lowest dealer fees. We have a new dealer fee sheet from Sunlight. We'll get a new one next week from GoodLeap. But the truth of the matter is I don't look at those very often because since they change all the time, I find it easier just to spend 20 minutes and play around with a proposal and figure out what makes most sense. GoodLeap rates. This will all change, by the way. What I just told you could change after January 10th. Good news is GoodLeap rates are actually going down a little bit come January 10th for everything above, is it 3.99 or 4.99? Hold on. I'll tell you. Everything above 4.99 and above, they're lowering the dealer fee by 1.5 points. So that's a good thing. So GoodLeap may be our go-to lender after January 10th. So 3 days from now. But in the meantime, today, that Sunlight 15-year or the GoodLeap 25-year at 2.99, Sunlight 15-year at 7.49, or GoodLeap 25-year at 2.99. Net metering 3.0. There was a great video. In fact, let me see if I can. I'm going to try and put a link in chat right now. If I can find give me just a moment. I want to put a link in chat. I don't know if this will work, but I did a Loom recording of the SolarEdge Net Metering 3.0 training. It was great. It was really good. So if you have a chance to watch that, then that will be, I think it's something that it would be good for everybody, even if you're a tier 1, doesn't really matter. It's a great training. And then
today on the hookup, I'm going to tell you all the things that I wish I knew before I.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody's was that me? No. All right. So what else did I want to talk about? I think that's it. Again, we're going to be doing a lot of different trainings over the course of the next couple of months, getting you all ready for 3.0 launch. It's not something I wouldn't, I mean, it is what it is. We are not the only ones that are going to have to be battling this. Everybody's in the same boat. It's not like, you are in a deficit against all your competition. This is just the way things are. We are going to start doing more leases. We may even do some PPAs. We will be training on those, especially for retired individuals, for the lower monthly payment. The people that are spending less than $120, $130 a month. Moving forward after 3.0 hits, you're not going to be able to show them a savings on the monthly payment. But if we start selling, locking in your energy cost, you're going to be a lot further ahead because then it's a matter of, okay, let me show you what your savings are over the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, whatever it is. because at the end of the day, that's really where the big savings are at. And solar, even with 3.0, is the best home improvement you can do. Maybe instead of a 7-year return on investment, now it's an 11-year return on investment, or whatever the case may be. It's still the best home improvement you can do. And in most cases, especially if you're using the actual escalation changes that Southern California Edison has actually been doing, which is closer to 9% than 6%, even though solar will only let us go to 6. The new Excel sheet will let us put in whatever the actual average rate is. It's going to be a huge difference, and a probably a 500 to 600% return of investment over the course of 25 years or 30 years, especially for 30 years, but even 25 years. It's just a matter of being able to show the right numbers and do it in a way that people understand it and it makes sense to them, and easy for you to relate to them. So that's what I'm working on right now. We'll have that before 3.0 launches. Next week, we've got the Leadership Summit I will be at on Thursday and Friday. So next Saturday, we'll be doing kind of a recap of that, of all, because I know there's some new stuff that's happening, and I'm expected to come away from that fully charged and recharged, ready to go, and ready to hit the ground running. So plan on that for next Saturday. Javier?
Perfect. Thank you, Red. Appreciate that for all the information. Also, I wanted to emphasize to everybody that this is very, very important, especially if you're recruiting people. I had one person last week that I was having a conversation with, and they were using a presentation, meaning a PowerPoint, from a long, long time ago, like 2 months ago. We are in a different world, and what you want to be very careful is how you recruit people, and most importantly, what you recruit people to. If you are using the old PowerPoint, which is really the only PowerPoint out there, you're asking for trouble, because you're not going to be able to deliver on what that PowerPoint promises, or basically states. That it's still the old no-brainer type of, like my presentation. I pay this much, now I pay this much. Wouldn't you want everybody to do that? Yes. Well, guess what? They're not going to be able to do it. So your PowerPoint that you're using hopefully reflects the value. It's price neutral, interest rate neutral, because on my PowerPoint that I'm using to recruit people, I got rid of all the slides that spoke about my financing, because it doesn't exist, basically. And even if we are able to get them at 2.99, I would never do it. I mean, I'll say I would never, but I personally would not do it. And so be very careful that if you are recruiting and you haven't updated your PowerPoint to represent what's going on today, don't recruit them to something that you will never be able to deliver. You're going to set them up for failure. They're going to say, conditions. And so therefore you have to set them up for that. Like Red said, even if we just swap it, one payment for another, even if we just simply, just went ahead and had a higher payment, doesn't matter. If you're selling them on the value, they'll still do it. And then lastly, I know I have this person on the call, and I want to just run a real life scenario of the week, if you would. And so here's a question for everybody. And if you're on this webinar, I expect you to please answer up. So we talk about the 30-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. We talk about the, guarantees, leakage, penetration points. We had a lot of rain in Southern California, and there was 2 roofs that had water damage as a result of that. One of them is one of the mentees that's on this line, and the other person is me, okay? And so the question is, again, the reason I love to go through this is because I want to know what the hell I'm going to tell somebody. And so the good, the bad, and the ugly. So what's the first thing? So your client calls you up and says, hey, my roof is leaking from the solar. I know, like me, I know it was a solar because I replaced the roof, brand new roof. So it couldn't have been the roof. And the only thing we did the week after the brand new roof arrived, solar was installed. And now the drywall is messed up on my ceiling, right? So I'm calling you, the consultant. What do you say? Anybody?
Javier, don't worry about it. Eventually, let me take matter onto my hands, because our warranty is bumper to bumper, free of leaks for the next 30 years. where the solar is being installed. That will
Okay,
be a
then
link.
what? Okay, so perfect. That sounds good to me. And then what? What do? You.
I'm gonna reach out to whoever is my upper line or the company. It's actually the company, the project manager.
The deal is closed already, so the project manager really won't help you because that deal is closed. The project is closed.
I don't know. Okay, thank you. I don't know.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to tell you because I was in this person went through that. Right now, I had to learn how to do it with them, and then after that, my leak started damn leak, and so I wanted answers. And there are some good things, and there are some not so good things. And so the answer to that is basically you have to reach out directly because there's two situations. So in that example, do they have Power Care, or do they still have the old one we were selling? Most of what I sold was the old one, the old third-party warranty.
Solar
Does that make
Insure.
sense? What is it?
Solar Insure.
Yeah, is it Solar Insure or is it Power Care? Very, very important. And so the answer is you go to chat.powur.com because if I'm training you, I'm not going to do it for you. I'll tell you that right now. If your mentor, I'm going to tell you, because that's part of mentoring, of course, is I'm going to tell you, listen, here's what you're going to do. Go to chat.powur.com. And when you go in there, it's going to ask you, are you a consultant, a homeowner, whatever? Put yourself as a consultant and put your information and then let them know that you need to open up a ticket for a claim for roof damage from solar installation. And then what they will do is they will take down the information, have your project number handy. Super important to expedite everything. If you don't, somebody's going to have to go look for it. But if you already grabbed it from your back office, you can just grab it from there and paste it. And once you do that, it will open up a claim. Now, technically, they're supposed to reach out to the client within 24 hours to start the formal process. Now, here's the downside. Here's the question that I have for you. Okay, I'm the client, and I am the client, and my roof is leaking like it is. Well, rain's coming on Monday or Tuesday. And guess what? Nobody called me within 24 hours. And the client, who the mentee is on this call as well, and it was her family, her father, to be more precise. I don't think they called them, did they? I don't think they did. And so the question now is, what do you do now? So I'm asking you guys, what do you do?
I'm actually tempted to say that they can go ahead and fix it, and I'm on the assumption that Powur will take care of it if they get their own contractor.
You know what they say about assumptions, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing. I'm not going to say it because I don't insult anybody, but like I said, I was in the military, man. In the military, we had a quote that assumptions are the mother of all beeps. Okay, never, ever, 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 ever. Because let me give you an example. If you assume something, okay, great, I'll go get it fixed. $500 later to fix it, and then Powur says, well, first of all, in our contract, it clearly says our contractors are to fix it, and I'm not paying you back, which they probably won't. Who's going to pay up the 500? You? And so what I'm saying is that you need to know this stuff before it happens, because if you are installing solar, it's bound to happen. Does that make sense? It's bound to happen. I guarantee you. The only people that said, no, I've never had a project. Well, how many, a problem with the project? How many projects have you had installed? Well, none. Well, that's why. I mean, because the moment you start to install, things start to go sideways. And so in that example, it's very, very, very dangerous, because you don't want to, in any way, shape, or form violate the agreement or the warranty agreement by doing some repairs. Now, what I'm doing on mine, and I'm not doing this on the other person's because I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I went down to Home Depot. I bought some of the, what is that spray called? I forget what it's called. It's on TV all the damn time.
Flex Seal?
Yeah, Flex Seal. There you go. I bought some Flex Seal clear. Don't get colored because it'll stain it. No, it's not going to be an exact match. Black. They have black, white, or clear. Go clear. And I'm just going to hose down that whole area with Flex, because the only other option is let the damn thing leak, because obviously they're not moving fast. Clearly, they haven't even called me. So I think the rain is going to get here before my follow-up phone call. And so therefore, do nothing and have the thing collapse on the drywall, collapse in my living room, because it's soaked already. It's damaged. It's ruined. I sent Rhett some pictures, and, then what? And so the point that I'm making is that you just have to think about this. Think about this now and get your resources in a row right now. The next step is to call the toll-free number for Powur down in Del Mar in San Diego and speak to a live person before any other steps take place to make sure you're not violating any terms of the actual warranty, if you would, by doing something yourself. But you can't just let the damn thing soak up more. And so I'm very disappointed for that client of mine, number one, and number two, for the other client, which is me. I'm very disappointed because imagine if I'm in and it's raining and raining and raining, and what the hell am I waiting for? That's the part I don't understand. A ticket was open. I did get an email saying that, hey, we're going to be contacted with you soon, but that doesn't help my roof. I was thinking that somebody's going to jump in the truck somewhere and call and say, hey, go put at least a tarp over the damn thing or something to stop the damage, if you would. Now, my next question is, does the 30-year warranty that we speak about, does it cover the drywall inside the house as well? Or is it just the outside? Rhett, what do you think?
I think it will cover everything.
Okay. I mean, I would hope so, is what I'm saying. Of course, because they just simply have to saw out the drywall, basically, and replace it. I mean, but that's what I'm assuming. Now, I'm not saying that to anybody because until I see it myself, and I'm kind of glad and I'm pissed that it happened to me, but, sometimes you got to take it for the team to be able to say, well, when it happened to me, remember I told you about the story? That's how I tell the story, to be able to do that. So I'm just giving you a heads up. It's raining. It's going to be raining more here in Southern California or wherever you might be. At least become well-versed. Don't make the hole bigger by digging deeper and deeper by giving bad information. Start by contacting Powur, either chat.powur.com to initiate the actual ticket. And number two, if need be, call them and say, hey, can they, and then get the names of the person's name. Can they put a tarp over it in the meantime? Should they call an emergency roofer and then get reimbursed? I mean, whatever the case might be, because in some instances, it might turn out to not even be it was a result of the solar. It could be other things, a chimney, whatever the hell the case might be. Maybe the roof was old or whatever the case might be. So now I'm super careful and I'm paranoid because I know that right now we have 2 cases that I'm installing on where the homeowner decided to sign the waiver. 2 deals that I have right now where they said, I don't want the new roof. So Powur said that you're going to have to sign a waiver. And they said, great, I'll sign the waiver. Now I'm like, damn, what would happen in a situation like that where it was the old crappy roof, right? But it's easier for them to say, so at least you have a disgruntled employee, then there goes your referrals. So when I'm saying, think about it. That's all I am telling you, to just simply think about it. There's a lot of good info in the chat. And so anyways, the last thing I want to show you.
Javier, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you think there's a possibility the warranty could get voided if you put that spray on there?
100%. I would say 100%. I'm 100% concerned. That's what I was telling that's why I didn't tell the other client to go up there and start hosing it down with Flex Seal or something, because I know warranties are like homeowners insurance. They look for a reason not to pay that damn thing. Oh, look at that. You put a bucket under the leak and now you mess up everything with the bucket. And therefore we're going to deny your claim. I've had about 5 claims that I put into home warranties. All 5 got denied, because technically it's 2 layers above what we have our and they weasel their way out. So all I'm saying, but be very, very careful, because now I'm just dying to know, how did they determine if it was because of the actual installation, or was it a bad roof, or was it a bad roof install? How? And the answer is we're going to have to trust them. I mean, I'm not climbing my ass up on the roof. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm just not going to do that and, tumble down the damn thing. I mean, I'm just not going to do it. And so that's why I'm monitoring it, first of all, for my client, which I'm looking out for, because, it's not the right thing to do, to leave them hanging. And number 2, because I'm involved in it as well. The last thing that I want to share with you, I'm sharing a link via the actual chat. Is this great a video that I'm going to share with you here in just 1 second, so bear with me, please. And what this one will show you, it's called Tesla Solar Scam Me. Now, I'm not anti-Tesla. Doesn't beat up on Tesla at all. It talks about the technical aspects of solar that you have to be very careful, because you can be saying something that's true, but not necessarily right for the client. And so I sent you, I'm not going to play the video. This guy started just as a client and is so well informed that he knows probably more about solar than you and I
commercial real estate
combined.
deal, just
and
one,
so he talks about how he went in there, got a quote. And again,
see,
it doesn't
this
beat
is
up
the
on,
difference between
on them.
flipping
It's just
houses
a
and doing commercial real estate.
How
With
they
house
place
flipping,
the panels.
you have to keep working to find your next deal.
I mean,
Today on the hookup, I'm going to tell you all the
about.
things that I wish
Talks
I knew
about how it
before I got my
levels off at the
10.2
top.
kilowatts
So
of solar
yeah, you
panels
can
installed.
have
Because
the
Tesla Solar
production just
basically
cap off.
scammed me
It's not
with what are
producing
at
anymore,
best
when technically
lazy and
it
in
should
some
be
cases
produced more.
borderline
But because of
fraudulent
the
behaviors.
inverters, it
And if
levels
you don't
off,
know what
just
to
like
ask
ours
and
could
how to
as well, if
advocate
you're
for
not
yourself, they'll do it to you too.
And so I'm not going to sit here and explain it to you, because if you really want to know.
So let's start at the
what he's
beginning.
talking about,
After a good
you
bit of
will go-
research, I
this
ended up
guy
choosing
gets
Tesla Solar
technical,
for
like you
3 main
wouldn't
reasons.
believe that
First,
I never
Tesla
thought about
is a
it. And
huge
now,
company,
when I'm
so buying
actually preparing my actual proposals, I'm keeping this in mind, because this guy did one hell of a job. PTO, I mean, everything. I hands off to this guy for really educating consumers, if you would. And too bad it didn't turn out too well for him, but it most definitely does help in understanding. So don't share this with the client. The worst thing you could ever do is talk smack about another company when you're trying to sell your own company. That's the worst thing you could ever do. Don't do that. And I'm not saying this is anti-Tesla. As you guys know, I love Tesla, but I just want you to understand that there's an angle for you to keep in mind when discussing this type of things with your clients, or designing them, I should say. And just like Rhett said, I'm with Rhett. We might have to we are probably going to go to solar edge string inverters in some instances, and at least keep some things in mind before it ends up biting your client in the butt. All right, what I'm going to do is, any questions from this past week or 2 weeks that you ran into in financing a deal, or, I mean, real life scenarios that you want to think about? Any headaches, issues? We have another.
Barry had a comment in the chat that said, hey, Rhett, what would you say when someone says interest rates are bound to drop in the future, just like they've done in the past? No, there's no doubt interest rates are going to come back down, but not sure why that would affect a reason. Not sure why that would stop you from doing the solar now, simply because an interest rate reduction is not going to affect you near as much, benefit you rather, near as much as the negative effect of 3.0 come April 14th. Okay.
And that's assuming that's assuming you can get in before 3.0, but even after 3.0, if interest rates come down significantly, that could be an issue, and people might want to balk at that. The question is how long is it going to take to ever get back to really low interest rates? That's probably more of the question. And we really don't know, because I remember way back when I got my first condo, the interest rate was 16.9%. And they said, now's the time to buy, right? It's always time to buy. And of course it came down, but it took a while to really come down to where, we are
well,
now.
At the end of the day, when rates come down, most people tend to refinance their home every 5 to 7 years, right? So if we sell them a low dealer fee loan today, okay, then it makes it easier for them to wrap that solar loan into their next cash out refi, which would, at the end of the day, save them money. So the main thing right now is to lock in the utility costs, lock in that electricity rate right now by switching to solar, and lock in your 2.0. Yes, after 3.0 takes effect, we'll be selling things and selling how we do things differently. Don't worry about that today. That's, today you need to be thinking about, what do we need to start? How do we create more of a urgency? And the urgency is, higher rates are coming. Grid blackouts are coming. It's just, it is a sign of the times, and it's going to happen. So let's get everybody locked in. And then, the great thing especially about Enphase microinverters is, one of the things that Enphase says is they are future-proof. And what that means is we can add batteries later. You can add a generator. You can add a battery. And as this technology catches up, as battery technology catches up to everything else, which it will in the next 2 to 3 years, simply because of, you start throwing money at something, and there's going to be a lot of people that are looking to jump into the market. And that's exactly what's happening. A lot of manufacturers are gearing up because, now 2023 is when all this money starts flowing from the Inflation Reduction Act towards green energy technology. So a lot of stuff is going to be changing over the course of the next couple of years. So, I remember what it was that I wanted to mention earlier when Javier was talking about Chat GPT. Chat GPT is in beta form right now. It's not hooked up. It's not live to the internet. GPT-4 hits the spring. You need to understand what this is all about, because GPT-4 as smart as ChatGPT is now, Javier, I don't know if you've heard about this, but GPT-4, they are saying could be up to 500 times smarter. It is, yeah, it's going to make a big change to our world. So check it out. It will definitely help you. Like Javier said, you can, it will help you with your ad copy. It will help you with landing pages. There's a lot of things you can use it for, other than cheating on your essays and book report. So, Javier.
All right, book report. You're that old, man. You're aging yourself there. But anyways, like I said, I just want to wrap it up. Say thank you to everybody, and again, don't take anything I say in a bad way. I just want to give you real life examples of what's going on in the world, in the business, and good, bad, and ugly. And like I told you, I'll keep you posted in regards to my leaky roof and the other person's leaky roof. And I need to know that. I need to know that because it really does fuel my passion for what we do, or it tempers it off a little bit. If that's what it is, then we have to address that. And again, it's not the end of the world. I just think we should all definitely not overpromise, but we sometimes don't control the outcome of certain things. That's it. But I think we're going to definitely go ahead and, okay, DeVayo has a leaky roof as well. Damn, DeVayo, great info. I have a leaky roof too. Well, there you go. Another Powur client. But the point is, it's not Powur. It's just somebody drilling into your roof. It's a very dangerous thing to do. And again, I'm not even saying it's related to that. I just want to know how they find out. And most importantly, somebody needs to come and stop my damn leak. That's ultimately what I want to do. And I want to turn my living room into a swimming pool. And we can go ahead and do that. So thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all that you do. I hope you find this useful. And I just want to say thank you and wish you a very productive week. Let's go out there and make this coming week the most productive week in the history of our Powur business by leveraging what we've learned here today to get ourselves and our families to the next level. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Javier.
Bye-bye.